Hello, fellow trail travelers. It is Carrie and Katerina and our good friends Philip and Dana today. And where are we? We are at Holy Cross City 4x4 Trail, one of my favorite trails. This is so awesome. Today we're going to do something a little different. This is going to be a how to wheel a trail. So we're going to use Holy Cross as our example today. We're going to show you some techniques, some tips, some tricks. We're going to show you how to properly wheel off-road. So stay right there. We'll be right back. Now, before we hit the trail, we aired down our tires. Now, both of us went down to about 12 PSI, and that's going to provide us a nice, comfortable ride. It's going to provide more traction, and it's going to help protect the tires from getting punctures on sharp rocks. But of course, you need to make sure that you have a compressor with you so you can air up at the end. Now, for the majority of this trail, we're going to run in 4 low, and we're going to be using manual gear control just to make sure that we're in the right gear to ensure that we have the power that we need to get up and over obstacles, up hills, and use engine braking as we come down. Now here's a good example where we need to be careful with our tire placement. We have this big rock on the passenger side, and if I tried to drive over it, put a tire on both sides, I'm going to end up scraping my hole underneath. So I want to put tires on the rocks on the driver's side, and I want to put a tire on the rock on the passenger side so that I get as much ground clearance as possible going over these rocks so I'm not scraping anything underneath. So that is driving on the rocks, not over the rocks. Now this is the first main obstacle. This is called the notch here. And as you can see, it has some challenges. We've got mud. So once your tires are wet and you try getting the back end up here, you can easily slide all the way around, which is what just happened. I ended up winching up a little bit. We're gonna try and, I think I'm gonna try and take this line going up here and see how that works. But there's no shame in pulling line, and there's no shame in using lockers today. You have them, use them. The lockers are going to make sure all 4 tires are working, all 4 tires are spinning, they're all trying to get traction, and we're aired down to about 12 PSI, which flattens out the bottom of the tire, gives you a bigger contact patch, and is going to help with traction. So, as soon as they're clear, we're going to give it a shot.
Out from over there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the line for sure.
Yeah.
So this is the first main obstacle here. As you can see, it's pretty high. We got about 6 feet going down there, and it's a sheer face on the front, and we have water and mud down there. So it's very easy to get sliding with your back end like we saw with the Cherokees. With me, I tried coming up the first couple lines. My back end just got stuck in the water. I couldn't get up, went back, found a better line, had the lockers on, so all 4 tires are getting power, and we came right up. But this also shows where momentum can be your friend. Once I started going, there's no turning back. You got to kind of stay in it so that your momentum helps carry the back end up and over that cliff. It's Phil's turn. Let's see how many tries it takes him. Took me, what, 3 tries, 4 tries? Something like that? 3? We'll go with 3.
2 bads and a good.
Let's see what Phil can do today. Phil and Dana's 392 is rocking some 37-inch Cooper SST Pros. We're on 38, so it's really only a ½ inch difference in ground clearance. I think Phil's going to try and take, now it looks like he's going to try and take a different line, or maybe the same line that I took on the end there. go up over that pointy rock. Okay, your front end's gonna start climbing. Your driver's right on it. Ah. You fell off of it. Okay. Let me get you lined up on it. Okay. Just straight. That's what I did. Yep. Oh, slid off the back tire. With these wet rocks, anything can happen, and got to be really careful. But he caught it real quick before the back end slid around too much. Yeah. Okay, you need to go driver. Okay, come forward. Okay, passenger is going to start coming up. Turn our passenger right there. A little too much, little too much. Okay, straight, now straighten out. Now a little more dry, yeah, right there. That should be good. Okay, nice and slow. Straighten out a little bit. Okay. Yep, you see it now? Okay, as soon as you feel the back end come up, whoop, well, that didn't work. Just watch for the rock on the passenger side up here. So as soon as you feel the back end lift, you need to turn a little driver. There it is. Found the line. So how'd that last run feel?
So the tough thing about wheeling the 392 is the power. So my first attempt, I went into it too soft, and in M1, what I found is I could have been, you could have heard it shifting through gears. I could have been in 5th gear by the time, by the time I came up. So you got to be really careful with wet tires. That last one, what I did was I just decided to let momentum carry me up.
Yep.
rather than just
Horsepower.
relying on the horsepower. So I gave it gas further back and just trusted the build to get me up, because putting the gas pedal wasn't gonna do it.
And this feels really sketchy coming up. So when you're really moving up here and kind of trusting that you're going to stay flat, it feels sketchy because you're getting pretty off camber. Mm-hmm. But it's not that bad as long as you're not in this little V notch right here. And as long as you're kind of over there, you can just drive it right up.
Yep,
So
yep.
You got to watch the big rock on the passenger side. You got to watch the notch over here. But not too bad. 3 tries each. We're ready to go.
Not too bad. As long as my exhaust is still dangling, we're good.
Now the next big obstacle is going to be before French Creek. That one's going to prove to be fun today too. Let's hit it.
Awesome.
Okay, this is a small ledge obstacle. We got these two rocks on either side. So again, I'm gonna put a tire on each rock so that the differentials are as high in the air as possible, so I'm not scraping on anything. And then I'll get to the main one and I should just be able to climb right up it. No lockers, just 4-wheel low, manual 2, just climbed right up. You can see here, Philip did the exact same thing. He used good tire placement to maximize his ground clearance. By putting tires in the right places, he can lift up the vehicle and make sure that he clears certain obstacles. Now, this was a fun one, but there's definitely more to come. So we're sitting here discussing the line coming over here. And if you see, it's really wet and muddy on this side. Easily, you'll slide right off of this. If we come up all the way high over here, which I've done before and ran kind of this shelf, the problem is we're gonna have really wet tires when we hit that. And when we get to the end where it drops off, we're gonna slide right off. And that is not gonna feel good. So I think our best bet is either from here or there to come down where our tires are going to be on relatively dry material, get down there, and then climb back up over there.
I think I'll see if I can talk Dana into taking it a little bit higher, because I'd still like to flex out a little bit.
Yeah.
On that corner, but I won't ride the whole. Well, she's driving, so she makes.
It's up to her.
Whatever, but I would like to take it, come down high there, just to flex, get a little flex, and but not run it to where it's skinny, and then you start to.
Yeah.
When your whole vehicle starts to slide.
It gets sketchy.
Especially when you have a whole bunch of gear because we camped last night.
Right. So you're a little heavy today.
I'm heavy.
Okay. I think I'm just gonna try and come straight down here, and maybe I'll go over there just to give it a little more fun of an angle.
Yeah.
So let's give it a try. Okay, this is the small ledge obstacle here, and you can take a couple different lines. I'm just gonna hug the passenger side here, and we should be able to just climb this pretty easily. Now, I don't have my lockers on, and yeah, plenty of traction, not a problem. Let's see what Dana decides to do here. Oh, she's gonna go around the other side. I said there's a couple different lines here. You can try and flex your suspension out a little bit. No, climb it. You're good, keep going. Stay in it, stay in it. You're up. Great job from Dana. Now, this is one of the trickier obstacles here on Holy Cross. This is a vertical wall here. All the way on that side is the line that I've taken multiple times. You do climb up it pretty easily, but you do tip pretty hard towards the bushes over there. This middle line right here is really a buggy line. You gotta have big tires, a lot of suspension travel to come up this line. And then there's this line over here, which is a little bit harder of a line, but there's some water down here, there's some mud. That could make this line a little tricky.
Yeah, and the sharp corner coming around this thing, if you're going up and you slip at all, you're gonna slide all the way around and potentially roll.
Yeah. This is a hard line today. I think harder than I think we want to attempt today. So I think we're gonna stick with the far right and just, we should be able to climb right up it. So we're going to take the far right line. It's not the most challenging line sometimes, but the dirt is wet and it's just not worth taking chances today. So we're going to take what is considered one of the easier lines, but it's still going to be fun. Okay, we are starting our pass through French Creek. Now there's some pretty big rocks here, and some of them we're going to drive on. Some of them we'll probably be able to drive around. I've seen a lot more water in here before. It actually looks more intimidating with less water here, that I can see how big some of these rocks are. So I'm just trying to pick a good line. I actually hit my rear bump stop there. Okay. Now I think I've got the line. And I'm gonna try and go up here. are just some big rocks. Tires are a little wet, so I think I slipped there a little bit. But we made it through, and I'm gonna go around this big rock. Now this is the old tippy tree obstacle here, and I'm going to try and pick a decent line. Hope everything goes smoothly. The ground is fairly wet, so I'm trying to be careful about that. Get my tires up on a rock, and I should be able to just drive right up this. But looks like I'm a little stuck here. Now in a situation like this, it's often good to just turn your steering wheel left and right and see if you can grab some extra traction and help get up over the obstacle. At this point, we have passed Holy Cross City, but don't worry, we're going to come back and talk a little bit about that area and some of its history. But as you go past Holy Cross City, the trail does continue a little bit further through some pretty difficult terrain and then up to Cleveland Rock. This is Cleveland Rock. This is basically the end of the trail. For most people, it's super steep and there's always water down here, so your tires get wet. There's really just no good way of making it up this. You could winch up it, but you're not allowed to winch to the trees, but there are some winch points up here that you can use if you really, really want to try and make it up it. I think I'm gonna call it a day. We tried to get it, but my tires are just way too wet. So we're gonna turn around, go have some lunch over at Holy Cross City. Now this is Holy Cross City, where the trail gets its name. This was a mining town in the very early 1800s, and there's actually some mining equipment scattered around that I didn't get any footage of this time. But this is really what people come up to the trail to see, are these old abandoned buildings. Hope you enjoy it as we finish up our lunch and head back in just a few minutes.
Trees in the way.
After we had lunch in Holy Cross City, it was time to head back, and it started raining. So we tried to get out of there as quickly as possible, and we did pretty good right up until we get to the first obstacle where this side-by-side was on its side. Not the best place for a side-by-side. So we helped out, got it back recovered and onto its four tires and out of the way so that we could come down the obstacle. Now, as you'll be able to see from the footage here, the Jeep did some sliding around on these wet rocks. It was a little sketchy in a few spots, but as long as we kept some forward momentum, it wasn't too bad, but we still did some sliding. But Phil, he'd been having problems with his 392. Anytime he was at a steep forward angle, the engine would turn off. And that causes you to have no steering, no brakes, nothing. And so he got to this obstacle and decided he's just going to drive down it as quickly as possible and get through it. And that ends our day on Holy Cross. Thanks for watching, everybody. We really appreciate all the feedback we get from people. Be safe out there. We'll see you on the trails.